All right. So what we are starting today is the Emerging Agent series. This is an 8-part series, and it goes through literally every step of a newly licensed emerging agent's work list. Okay, there's a lot being thrown at you. And for anybody that's new, if you've got a friend of yours, it's a real estate agent who's an emerging real estate agent coming into the market, and really, I don't care what brokerage they're with. That doesn't really matter. Let's help other agents be great. If you want to invite them to join us on these calls, absolutely do. I'll drop a link in the chat as well. And I have it up on my screen, so it's real easy for me to do for the all of these video or everything we do except for our Wednesday or special Wednesdays that we have are in YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel that's dedicated just to this. So what you're watching today is available later on this afternoon for everybody, unedited, very raw. I want to cover what we're going to cover over the next 8 weeks. Get that out of the way. I'm going to take care of a little housekeeping. Series 1, which is right now. This is all about lead generation. When we're done today, actually after the first 30 minutes, you should be able to choose what 2 lead generation platforms you're going to be using. And we're going to cover what does that entail. If you know what you're going to do, we can help you do it. We can help you get there very quickly. So it is mission critical for us to go through this exactly as we're going to do it. Number 2, the second series, which is the following Thursday, is going to be scheduling and time management, because, oh my God, that's important. If you don't have your schedule and your time squared away, you are not going to accomplish what you need to do. Here's the ugly little secret for everybody out there. You're probably pretty shitty at being your own boss. And that's totally cool. That just makes you huge, normal, average person. We're going to try and help you manage yourself a little better, because that is a fundamental key to your success. 3, working with buyers. This is 3 weeks from now, working with buyers. Now, this series is all about the tools. That's the buyer packages. We've got like an entire toolbox for you. You're going to be like Batman or Batwoman when we're done. You'll have like this weapons around you. That's working with buyers, the tools. The 4th week is working with buyers, how to. That's role playing. What do you say? How do you do it? When you're showing a property, how's it go? What happens when you go to an inspection? What should you do? We're going to cover everything you need to know, so as much as we possibly can, so that you can put those tools to use and you can work with them. 5 and 6, which is right after our shareholder meeting, which is in May. Yes, you should be there. Every one of you. It's wicked cool. Y'all get that? If you're not going to come, let's talk privately and I will change your mind for you. You need to be there. I don't care if you're an emerging agent or otherwise. You want to surround yourself with high-level people anyway. Right after the shareholders meeting, we're jumping into the sellers. First week in that, week number 5 is going to be seller tools, listing presentations, pre-listing packages, everything you need. It's yours. We're going to give it to you. I want you to have it. You can tweak it and make it your own. Week 6 is working with sellers. That's a live listing presentation. I'm actually going to put into action the listing presentation live for you so you can see it. I'm going to do it right here in the studio, and you're going to be my partner. And if you haven't figured this out yet, my real partner in crime here is DJ. Hi, DJ. God bless you, dear. She'll be involved in every aspect of this. Today, we threw her under the bus by not being prepared for her. But you're going to see a lot more engagement. And that's not her fault. That was mine. 7 o'clock last night. Hey, can I send over today? She's like, I'm at a function. So anyway, after that, after we're on the buyer series, or the seller series, how to do it. Series 7 is contract to close. What the heck do you do when you get a contract? What do you do? How do you take it from there? You want to know this, because otherwise you're not going to know what your schedule should look like, what you should be doing for the inspections, the follow-ups, the walkthroughs, the getting the referrals, the little things that it'll really fill in your business. And the last series is something that I always like to have Mr. Martin lead, and that is how do you leverage your lending partners and your title partners to help you continue to grow your business. Now, this is not a take environment. This is a share environment. Anyway, that's what's happening over the next 8, really 9 weeks, because we're shareholders. We're going to be all on there. Today, it's lead generation. I'm going to do some housekeeping for everybody because I want to make sure we get this squared away. Going to be about 25 minutes or so where I'm going to do a lot of talking about this, and we're going to do some Practical applications in each one of these meetings. The second half from about 9:05 to 9:30 is going to be applications. What does that look like? We're going to probably dive into, some real questions and answers about what form of lead generation makes the most sense and what does that look like. And I'm going to try and explain that as well in the first part. And then the last 30 minutes on these, which is the after hour or the after party, truthfully, that's really open air, 3-minute maximum for a question, but any conversation, any topic you have that comes up that you want to hear about, because you guys matter. Emerging agents, you are the new generation of the rock star real estate agents. Now, for all of you that don't know, I'm going to do something I rarely ever do. I'm going to brag a little bit. And I hate doing this. I've been in real estate for 2 decades. I've sold over 5,000 homes. Now, while that doesn't seem like a really big number, when you consider that most people sell 6 or 7 homes or 10 or 20 homes a year, you can see that that starts adding up. To say I have a little bit of experience is an understatement. What I do know for sure is during those 20 years, regularly, I have been called upon to teach classes, help educate, guide, develop, and role model and role play with people. I have a very good idea what your struggles are. I've coached people through it. I have an understanding of your challenges, and we're here to help. And when I say we, now I'm going to bring DJ in because I'm going to brag on her a bit too. And I'll do this a little bit more short in the beginning. DJ is a team leader, has coached businesses, has coached agents. When I say team leader, that means she was responsible for a large group of real estate agents and their development from beginning all the way through mega agents and superstars, and she's helped every single person within that spectrum. She has 20 years experience in this industry as well, and to say that she is somebody I lean on is a freaking understatement. All right, this is somebody that I go to her with questions. Okay, so we've got some talent on here, and I can't not do this just because he's sitting there looking like he's eating popcorn, which makes me smile. But Mr. Ali Pertovi's on here too, probably one of the smartest people I know. So Ali, if you ever see anything in here that you want to jump in, it's not popcorn. All right. I was like, is it that good that he's eating popcorn right in front of me? I mean, am I putting on that kind of a show today? All right. Jump in whenever you want, Ali. I love having you here. What is lead generation? Lead generation is communication back and forth between you and somebody, chances are you don't know. If you know them, it's lead follow-up. If you've ever spoken to them, it's lead follow-up. Lead generation is having a conversation to facilitate a relationship or foster the beginning of a relationship with commonality, usually in real estate. Doesn't have to be, but it's about creating a relationship. Now, for all of you that are brand new in real estate, that are emerging through this process, I want you to consider that it is very important to get and generate leads, but it is equally important to create long-term relationships that are based on trust. Now, here's the scary part. People won't trust you unless you have skills. So you're going to have to do the hard work as an emerging agent. I'm sorry to say it this way, but I'm going to be blunt. This is tough work. But once you get through this, that first year or two is really the challenge. After that, things start laying in front of you, and it becomes a much more enjoyable, much more palatable career, and you won't have to work as hard. Can I get a hallelujah from either of my two partners to validate that? There we go. I mean, that you've watched this, DJ, how many times they bust their hump for that first year or two and doing things they don't like doing. And then all of a sudden, business just starts showing up for them. Is that fairly accurate statement for what you've experienced with all your coaching and training?
Yes. Or they quit before it happens, before the magic happens, they quit.
And this is why I lean on her. She is very transparently honest and is saying things that you have to hear. If you don't push through this, there's a high probability you're not going to be successful and it's going to drag on. So why don't we just put all sorts of effort into the first 90 days? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Thing is, though, if you do the right things, if you know how you're going to lead generate, in 90 days, you will see results. And all of a sudden, the world starts looking bright. Thank you for being very honest on that. All right. So we've covered what is lead generation. Oh, by the way, this is the hat for the day. Let's go. What isn't lead generation? Checking Facebook, checking Twitter, other social media sites, Instagram, posting on them, unless you're extremely good at it. Now, we have a few partners who are crushing it in lead generation, and they're using social media. And I am in awe of what they do. And they are wicked structured. They are highly levered, very structured, have a system and a strategy in place, and they follow it. And it not ever once, not just once, are they saying, well, I want to tell somebody that I'm in real estate. Nobody cares. They have a purpose. If you're going to say lead generation is going to be social media, because some of you are going to want to do it, you better be able to say, this is who I'm following, and this is who I'm mirroring, and this is who I'm copying literally everything they're doing. Because if you're not an expert in R&D, especially in what we're about to talk about, which is rip off and duplicate. That's what R&D means in real estate world. If you're not an expert at ripping off and duplicating what somebody else is doing, we're going to have a little bit of an issue, because you're going to try and create it yourself. Don't waste your time. Do what somebody else is doing. Do it exactly like they're doing. If you want to prospect, get on Ricky Caruso 0 to Diamond and do what he says to do, because he's really good at it. Or better yet, Steve Pugh, one of the best I've ever seen. Milton James, what are they doing? Seek out those people that are doing what you're doing. I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. So it's not checking social media. It's not posting on social media. It's not following up with leads. We're actually going to cover that in the next series, because that's called follow-up. That's part of your schedule. And it's not working on your business, or what I call WOB time. Lead generation is actually communicating with people you haven't met before in almost every circumstance, and having a conversation about their needs, creating trusted relationships, and also offering something, a unique selling proposition. Everything that you do in lead generation has some form of sales involved in it. Okay. I wrote this down as well. Why is lead generation so important to your success? Now, that seems pretty basic, but I want to tell you this, and this is where I definitely, Ali, you got to come in, and DJ as well. If you're not doing this right now, or at least if you're in week 2 or week 3 of joining our particular brokerage and following our system at which to do so, you're almost to the point where you're going to be doing this. If you're not doing some form of outbound lead generation on a daily basis based on your goals, tell you exactly what your schedule looks like. That's next week. We can do that. We will do it. There's a high probability that you are failing, that you are not at the pinnacle of success you can be. This is such an important activity in your every single day schedule and life going forward, starting now. DJ, would you mind any insight you have on that, watching literally thousands of agents? I mean, folks, this is an expert. Okay, Ali, the same thing. He's developed agents, done the same thing, but I'd love to get some input, your thoughts on a daily schedule, and if they're not doing it, or if they are doing it, what seems to happen?
You know, the thing with schedules is that we all think that they're restrictive. We all feel like we're all restricted if we have that. And I learned a long time ago that if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist, and I'm too old to remember stuff. So I need to have a schedule. I need to know what that is. I have looked at people's schedules for years now, and I will tell you that the most successful agents, I don't care if they've been in the business 15 years, 20 years, they are still doing a minimum of 20 to 30 hours a week lead generating. And lead generating doesn't have to be cold calling. It doesn't have to be door knocking. It might be going to play tennis. It may be going to play golf. It may be doing something that you really enjoy doing. It might be going out to networking meetings. Last night, I went to a chamber event. So there are so many ways to lead generate, but you have to commit to it, and you have to commit to it on a completely consistent. You know, I posted something in Facebook yesterday that consistency is the partner of success, because if you're not consistent, that we are also bad about that, right? We're not consistent. We say, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this every single day. And then we do it once. And then the next day we're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something else. And I'm going to do that every single day. And then the next day it's like, well, that didn't work. So let's do this. Nothing works if you don't do it. over and over and over again, right?
Consistently. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Thank you, ma'am. That was awesome. Ali, you got anything you want to add to that? Because you guys got to hear this part. This is so important. So important.
Yeah, I mean, everything that DJ said is correct. I would think the easiest way to do something to make sure you take action is to make it extremely easy for yourself. And, you know, your schedule, if you're anything like me, is kind of like building a sandcastle on the beach, right? That wave's going to come in that first morning and just wreck everything. So if you can actually make it where it's the minimum that you know absolutely for sure you're going to commit to and do, then you're far better off. So the way I do it, and I'll give you an example. So I really like to do the 3-2-1. And this is something that I preach and I share with everyone when I talk to them. The 3-2-1 is you add 3 leads to your database every day, right? So you commit to 3. And I'll show you right now. I have a card that I got from my dentist yesterday. So I'm going to be adding the people that I met at the dental office to my database. Now, it doesn't mean that I talk, real estate with them at all, but it's going to give me a pool to go to when I do have to lead generate, because oftentimes we don't have enough people to talk to. So that's my 3-2-1. I just add 3 people every day to my database, right? The 2 stands for 2 hours a day, where you do your lead nurture, lead follow-up, anything that has to do with calling them, congratulating, all that lead generation activity there for you to just be in base. Now, that doesn't mean you can cold call during that time. You can reach out to for sale by owners, whichever one that you've picked as your lead generation lever. That's the 2. That 2 hours doesn't have to be consecutive. It could be broken up into what I call power blocks, 30-minute sections where you put your phone in do not disturb mode, make dials out, text messages out, have your screen open on your whatever you're using for your CRM to take notes as you're doing it, and make sure that you have all your emails and everything closed off so you don't get disrupted in that 30-minute time block. And then the 1 is you want to go on a listing appointment, buyer showing, and if you don't have either of those 2 scheduled today, then you need to go preview a property. I love to preview properties that are vacant or go to builder models and just talk to the builders, because a lot of times they're going to give you insight information about what's going on right now in the new build community, as well as if you build a good enough relationship, some of those builder representatives will reach out to you. And when they have a house that needs to be sold from somebody who's going to buy, we've had that happen many times now. So that 3-2-1 for me was just the way to start lead generation consistently. Now, the way I did it is, okay, I can't do it every day, but what is the absolute minimum number of days per week that I commit to it? And I share it, and I have an accountability partner that for sure I'm going to do it. So for me, it's 3 days a week. So no matter what, 3 days out of the week, which basically means 12 days out of the month, I do my 3-2-1. And then you will see that over time, the compound effect of that, your database starts to mushroom. Now you actually have leads after a few months where, hey, I don't have enough leads. I got business closed. Instead of being back at 0, oh, I have these, at least I have 12, 15, 20 names in there that I can start just reaching out, content, whatever it is. If you did a preview, whenever I go to a preview for a vacant property, we went on Tuesday afternoon to a property here in Lake Mary. It had been completely redone. We went, previewed it, took some video for Instagram and posting it on our stories and linking it, sending it to our database because it had been really nicely redone. And the best part was that the agent, afterwards, we asked, is it a possibility to do an open house at this property? He was like, absolutely, for sure. If you guys want to do an open house, just let me know and I'll let the sellers know. We'll do it. It's vacant, brand new, remodeled, great location, just a few minutes from our office. So that's my approach to lead generation. Make it the simplest, easiest possible that for sure you'll do, and start building on that. So once you get 3-2-1 down after a few months, now challenge yourself to do 4, maybe 2-2. You're going on 2 previews or 2 listing appointments or 2 showings a day. And if you have a listing appointment or showing that day, you don't have to preview anything because you've already got that done. But make sure you're, as I like to say, get off the desktop or the laptop and get on the blacktop. So that's my 2 cents worth.
And let me jump back in there. Can I real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Talking about visiting, previewing vacant homes, people tend to like, why would I do that? Well, I did that twice. The first year I was in business and I was previewing homes, somebody came up when I was opening the door and said, are you a realtor? And I said, yes. Can I see this house? I've been driving by it. And sure, come in with me, look around. And I picked up a client. Now, does that happen all the time? No, but it's never going to happen if you don't go if you don't go preview it. And the other thing that you said, Ali, is so genius, and that is going to the new home builds, because one of our new agents that I just recruited last week, her husband is a builder or a builder's rep, and she's getting her license because he gets all these people that come in there and want to buy a house, and they don't have anybody to sell their property. So if you go in and build a relationship, there are agents that have built their business on that. And they not only do they build a relationship with that rep, they build a relationship with all the reps, because they go different times, different days, meet all the reps. And one agent in Sarasota has built a business on, he just offers to the builders, when you're down to 3 or 4 homes, you want my people to set them for you, and then you can move your person on out of that. So just open your mind. There's tons of places to get leads here. And then the last thing I'll say is that, well, it's not the last thing I say, that's true. But the last thing I'll say right now is, here's the scenario I don't want you to get caught up in. Okay, I'm going to do lead generation between 9 and 11 every day. So then 9:30, you get a text that a buyer wants to see a house. So you drop everything, you don't do your lead generation, and you run out and you show this property to somebody that you've not qualified. And that's a whole different subject. We'll qualify that later. And they get out there and they go, oh, thank you for showing me this house. I really don't like it. And I'll call my realtor and set something up with them. So you have thrown away your lead generation time for somebody because you didn't prioritize your lead generation and do your qualification. So it has to be like a doctor's appointment, and you don't know what you have. You have a rash on your neck and you don't know where it is, what's causing it, and it's itching and it's horrible, and you're not going to miss that doctor's appointment. That's how you look at your lead generation. I'm done.
Thank you very much. So I had one comment that goes back to what Ali was talking about, and y'all heard him. He just randomly picks 3, 2, 1. It doesn't really have any system in place. Did y'all get the randomness and how he's just kind of shooting bang, bang, bang everywhere? There was no plan of action. I didn't hear anything where he knew what he was supposed to be doing. And to piggyback on that for all of you, and this is a lot to do with tomorrow, with next week, but it's valid for the conversation as this has kind of evolved. You're never going to have, well, that's not fair. You're almost always not going to have a perfect day. But if you know what a perfect day is, you're going to get much closer to it. And perfect days, or really good days, 1 to 5, if you rate your day 1 to 5, if your days are consistently 3.5s to 4s, you're going to crush it in this business. As long as your day has a system very similar to what my dear friend Ali just said, he knows what's going on during his day. All right, let's jump forward because we're going to get into this. You're going to have to choose today 2 forms of lead generation. If you already have it, if you have, great, put it in the chat box. I want to see it. What are the 2 areas that you're lead generating? Now, if you don't feel like putting it in the chat box right yet, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But I want you to get the idea that this is the most important thing you have to do for your success. Identify what you're going to work on. Now, we're going to cover today what the options are, what the possibilities are, and we're going to cover in detail and then hopefully go into some real questions and answers for you on what does that really mean. So let's say I'm going to call for sale by owners. What does that look like? What does my schedule look like? I want you to get a really good feeling for it. I want you, Ollie's got his referral business partners and for sale by owners. It's terrific. So he knows what he's going to do. And I guarantee you that he is getting better at each one of those every single day, or by the week, you're going to see momentum and improvement go. You've got to identify it. Now, for everybody on the call that's listening to this, this is the part that's the most important for you, and this is where you need to be focused. I want to ask you to do me a favor. Put your cameras on, and let's give me your attention, because this is about you. And I know that if you're engaged and you're on phone and you're looking at me, there's a really good chance I'm going to get into you a little bit deeper. I'm going to be able to give you more. I'm going to share something with you. This is a lead generation menu. It's available to all of us. It's in the GPS Global Partners. I want you to take a look at this, and then don't try and memorize it. I'll drop a link in the chat for everybody. This is kind of like taking after Chipotle. That's where this actually came from. I'm like, I like their menu where you can pick your protein, pick what you're adding to it, and then your expensive add-ons. Well, we're going to do the same thing. You've got an option. Your protein is usually right now business. That's business that's going to generate something immediately. This day, I'm going to be working with a qualified buyer and or seller. That's the probability for a right now business. Now, future business does not mean that's bad. It means it's phenomenal, and you need to have one of those, in my opinion, as well. You can absolutely thrive with 2 right now businesses. Proper balance is usually right now and future business. Right now, you're going to have to work a lot harder on. We'll cover that in a minute, because it's got to generate money to put in your pocket right away. And your future business would be, well, example would be database. So let's go into this. Here's some examples. Definitely not exclusive. Right now business. Open houses. Circle prospecting, that's calling around for sale or listings, pendings, and solds. For sale by owners, right now business. Expired withdrawn, right now business. Door knocking, right now business. Meetings, first time home buyer seminars, things like that. That's business where you're talking to somebody who wants to buy very soon. Future business is database. Now, Ollie has, I know for sure that's it, is referral database. Almost everybody's going to end up with that as one of them. Why not just start with it right now? And I would love to apply the 3-2-1 principle to my database, which helps grow it, and then narrow that down to the people that I teach on, where you speak to your top 150 every single month. Imagine the power of that. Now, I've got to get some input on this one. If you're in real estate for at least 3 years plus, do me a favor. I'm going to ask this question. I'd love your input. Raise your hand if I can call on you to ask this question. Ali, I'm going to you first, no matter what. After 3 years, where does most of your business come from? Most of us are going to identify. Well, let's let it happen. Pierre, you're first up, and then I'm going to go to Liz, and Ali, I'll pull you in after that. Thank you. I just wanted to get an input. After 3 years, where's most of the business come from, Pierre?
Referral business.
Database, right? Database, 100%. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it. Miss Liz, besides door knocking, which you are flat out an amazing expert, you have got to be involved in the how-tos of that as we're talking about it today. Where does most business come from after 3 years?
It's all database and repeat clients.
But then I have to ask this because I've got you on the hot seat, and I just love Liz. If y'all haven't figured out, she's a freaking rock star. But you door knock. Why would you possibly door knock if your referral business is where most of your business comes from? Or does that actually feed your database?
It feeds your database. You're sitting there picking up listings, you're farming the neighborhood. So when you're door knocking for one of your listings for a repeat client, then you're picking up new business and you're starting to get into their world, and they start sending you business. So always have 2 to 3 really strong resources for your database and for your business, and you're going to be just fine.
Outstanding. Liz, thank you very much. Ollie, I got to come back to you on this one, brother. You don't need real estate as an income. I happen to know your business models, and you have multiples. You just must do this for fun, but why would you possibly be 3-2-1 when do you really need to feed your database anymore? I mean, you're already very successful.
Absolutely, because 30% of your database will just through attrition will go away, whether people move, whether people pass away, whether people are just, you forget about them. I mean, there's been several times that I forgot to keep in contact with someone from my database. And so 30% of your database, think of it as a bucket, it's leaking out the back end, or that you're just not in touch with them anymore. So you constantly have to replenish that, right? So that's why you want to grow your database. Plus, my focus in 2023 for the rest of the half of the year is to build my real estate team now that I've got the mortgage brokerage up and running. In order to do that, you need to provide leads, you need to provide contacts for new agents to come on board so that they can get going quick, as opposed to building that. And therefore, adding that to my database every day allows us to offset some of that 30% attrition that is going to go away from your database.
So this is why I hang out with Ollie. If you haven't figured it out, this guy's really smart. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate that. I knew your answer already, so it was pretty easy. That's why I'm sitting back there going, y'all just listen to this, because why wouldn't you feed your database? That's going to be part of it. Let's go back to the board, because I could not bring that in. It's just so important. So back on this board, you've got your future business, database, farming, client parties, social media marketing done properly. Open houses. Well, isn't that funny? Open houses are right now business and future business because you're creating relationships in open houses that are probably not going to come to fruition. Some right now, and some in 3 months, and some in a year. And it's feeding your database. Company referrals, working your referral network of your brokerage. We have a great one with our brokerage. Oh my God, if you just monitored that, you'd pick up business. And a lot of it's going to be future because you're not going to get it immediately. You might. Network meetings. And then expensive add-ons. This is the part that costs you money. Zillow, Facebook ads, TV, radio, sponsorships, direct mail, billboards. You're going to pay for those. Here's the thing. If you want a full entailed list, this is probably the best book ever written about real estate, period. And on page 138 is an entire list of different lead generation sources. I mean, a shitload of them. More likely than not, they're on this menu. Now, here's the part that's real important. You're going to have to identify what they look like to you. Which ones will you commit to? For who's brave enough that's an emerging agent, I will not hold you to it, but I want to have a conversation. Just raise your hand. If I can see you and you put your hand up, I just want to. All right, awesome. I appreciate it. Let's see. Antoinette, take yourself off mute. This is a safe place, so you're cool. It's just you and me having a conversation with, I don't know, like 70 people watching us. So it's just you and me, just us. Have you selected 2 lead generation sources for your business that you've committed to yet?
Committed to? No, I'm still literally, I just got up and running yesterday. Like I just got welcomed into the company yesterday.
All right. So this is literally, you are the perfect person. And DJ Ali, just give me a thumbs up if you agree with it. The fact that she's like literally jumping in saying I'm an open book. You got about a 90% chance of success at this point. You are freaking awesome. God bless you. Cause that's gutsy move. And I admire that. Ali, would you agree? That's pretty solid, right, man? I mean, that's cool stuff. All right, young lady, you and I, what we want to work you through is we want to help you identify the 2 different lead generation sources that you're willing to commit to for a year, because it's going to take about a year of effort putting it in here. And to do that, you need to know the time frame constraints. You need to know what's involved. You need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly, because some of it's going to be ugly and not as much fun. I own it. And some of it's going to be really fun. If you will make that commitment after you pick it, you don't have to pick it today. But imagine what would happen if you were to invest 2 to 3 hours a day, let's say 4 days a week, because nobody's perfect, doing something that was going to give you a high probability that if you spoke to 100 people, realistically, these are true numbers. If you speak to 100 people that you haven't met before, you're probably going to have a closing coming in the next 12 months from that. And it can be anywhere from right now to 12 months down the road. If we're going to do that, I want you to think as we're going through it, for you particularly, and I'll come back to you and you can call me directly because I'd like to talk to you. If you're brave enough to be on here, I'm going to back you up 100%. But let's dig into what that looks like and can we fit it into your schedule and will you do the work? Because if you will, I'll think about this. If you're on the phone prospecting, you can talk to 10 people an hour. It's about the right number. If you're doing an open house, I'll use that one. You can talk to realistically about 20 people over the course of a 3-hour period of time, or really 40 people over the course of the weekend. Now, they've already identified that they're raising their hand saying, I'm interested in real estate because that's why I'm in an open house. So you have a higher conversion rate, and that actually would equate out to a closing. Here's the thing, though, and this is what I'm going to ask you. If you would let us, and you pick what you want to do, and you commit the couple hours a day, do you think you're going to be successful if you've got, the right schedule, if you're kind of following Ali's mentality?
Oh, absolutely.
So because you raised your hand, my phone number's, I'll share it with you. I'm going to share it in the chat for you, but I'd love to speak to you after the call's over. And I want to know, because you're gutsy and I dig that. I want to know how we can help you further. So let's get through this. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time, you and I, just focusing directly on you, if you'll permit me.
Yes.
All right, cool.
George,
Yes.
why are you picking on my agent?
Because she's working with you. She needs help, dude. I mean, you're just, Robert's the bomb. I was unaware that you're underneath him. You are in a good place, but I still want to have that call. And I want to reward the fact that you jumped in here. So let's jump into now what lead generation descriptions look like. And if there is yes, it worked. Now this, I'm going to also share with everybody, and I'm going to share this on the screen. By the way, I'm going to do a poll, and I wanted to, it's just, y'all answer it if you want to. If you don't, that's totally cool. It should be launched up there. You just have to click on it and go whatever you want, and that will give me some information. Take a look at it. But more than that, let's get into what the lead generation options look like. Now, this is not exclusive, but it will give you an idea of really what they do. So the first thing that comes in is, of course, database. Now, I really took this off the menu. Now, you'll notice the database has these little arrows, which let's make this bigger, make it easier for you guys. I'm so sorry. It's not as big as it should be. There we go. Database has these little arrows, which means it's further out, and there's very little cost, and it's definitely an active, not a passive. This is a description from working with your database, and here are the pros. Minimal financial investment, low cost, daily time frame is small by comparison, and it is a proven long-term business strategy. The cons, it can take a long time to start to see the rewards, and you cannot automate it. That means if you're going to do database, you're going to do it for the rest of your career, and I would challenge you to embrace that. Talking about open house.
Forward.
I'm sorry?
Before
Yes,
we
ma'am.
move forward, I want to show, can I share my screen?
Absolutely. All yours.
Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of forms that I was going to send out to my team today, and that I'm more than willing to share with anybody else that wants to do this on your database. So let me just share this with you. These are to jog your thoughts and to go through all of these, the members of your family, organizations, acquaintances already available, people who are business, are decision makers, social connections, past contacts, those you do business with, people you know who are in direct sales. Who do you know from the following states? Taking this and making your notes along with looking at, list your warm market first, list your relatives next, who is in your world that you don't even think about. Who sold me this? I know someone that, I know someone who is. This is much fun to stop. So these kind of things, if you want them, I will post them with Tiffany after this on the thing. So just want to say, I just finished this yesterday, and so if anybody wants it, they're welcome to it. I'm done.
I want it. Me.
Me too, please. Yes, please.
Yeah. Give it. Send it to Tiffany right now. Email it to her. Tiffany, get it in the shared drive under the GPS shared drive under emerging agent classes, under lead generation options, or under, series 1, and drop it in there, and then put the shareable link in there for us, please.
Will
So
do.
yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, that's awesome. God bless you. There you go. More tools. All right, I am going to stop your sharing, and I'm going to go back to sharing on this as well, because we do want to move pretty fastidiously through this. Open houses. Timeframes right now, of course, it's a little bit in the future. There's a little more cost to it. It is a little passive, a little active. What I mean by that is you're going to passively wait for people to come in, but you're actively doing something. Now, the pros and the cons, or the cost, is fairly good. You get both buyer and seller sides, and there's an entire class on how to do one in My Morning Mindset. The cons are you're confined to a location for an extended period of time. You have a potential loss of money from signs and things going away. And the temptation to hold an open house can lead to holding a poor open house with little results. So that means I'm just going to do it. This is this is a strategy, open houses. Okay. Farming is something that comes up all the time. That's a geographic area. This takes substantially longer. So when we're looking at our menu, we got to be aware that if we're going to do that, our farming has to be, I didn't pull it up. Our farming has to be supplemented with right now business. Now, the pros are the cost is fairly moderately low. You do get both buyer and seller sides. Sorry, that's the farming. Yep. And there's a class on how to do that as well. This is just duplicated. I wouldn't even pay attention to that. For sale by owners, expireds, withdrawns. This is prospecting based. This is picking up the phone and making calls. I'm an expert in all of these. So I can speak with great knowledge on this. For sale by owner has very, very little cost except for your software that you'll need. Same with any kind of prospecting. You will need a dialer software. You will need a headset. You will need a block of time. It is absolutely active. It generates right now business. But I don't know what to say. And I don't know who to call. And I don't know what I should do. It doesn't matter. We can show you all that. That's not the issue. The issue is, will you commit to this expired or prospecting or farming or database or open houses or any other form of lead generation? Will you commit to it and do what needs to be done to facilitate that form of lead generation? This is a great time for a story. And I'm going to tell this, and then we'll jump back to this, and we're going to finish it up and open it up for everybody, because the rest of this time is all for you. I got into real estate literally 2 decades ago. And I was in the restaurant business. I was a general manager, chef, all that. I kind of reached my plateau with the restaurant business, and I was kind of done with it. The gentleman I worked for a company. I'm not going to mention McCormick and Schmick's name. That'd be inappropriate. And the vice president I reported directly to, again, I'm not going to mention Dave Jenkins' name. That scumbag was a 65-year-old cigar smoking piece of shit who was hitting on my 18-year-old servers. And again, out of respect for McCormick and Schmick, I won't bring their name up. When I called and told them about Dave Jenkins, the vice president, Dave Jenkins, whose name I won't mention either, hitting on these girls and soliciting them, they said, well, we'll see what we can do. Actually, this is all recorded. I'm making those names up. That's fictitious. Bottom line is, though, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm out. This is not working for me. So I left. I asked the best person in the room, the smartest person that I was around. I said, how do I do it? He said, call for sale by owners. That's what you should do. So that's all I did for 3 years. I called for sale by owners. And I want you to know this, that when I started, I was horrible, but I knew what I had to do. And my schedule was 3 hours of phone calls. And I'm here to tell you that if you practice and you really, really put forth effort, you can find a way to waste 3 hours in a room without a TV before we had Facebook. Because I would only talk to 3, 4, 5 people. And I got to the point where I started talking to 30 people in those 3 hours. And I sold 26 homes my first year, and every freaking one of them was a listing. I didn't work with buyers. I didn't handle contracts. I had a transaction manager handle all that for me. Here's the thing, though. I was on the phone for 3 hours, and it took me 2.5 hours to get ready to get on the phone, but I didn't have a choice. And I said, I'm committing. And after I sold 26 homes, I said, as much as I don't like doing this, I love the results, and I can do anything for 3 hours. Average about 4 times a week, not 5 times a week. What I'm saying is that everything works. And if you pick one and said, this is what I'm going to do, you may not know what to do, but we can help you with that. What we need to know first is, what are you going to do? What is your schedule requiring of you? This is important, because if you pick your 2 forms of lead generation, I guarantee you, any of the people that you look up to that you're like, wow, they're good, they could look at your schedule and say, no, you're missing the boat, or yes, that's exactly where you want to be and you're doing the right thing. We can help you, but you have to make the commitment. So I open this up for everybody here. If you're committing, if you're going to commit to 2 different forms of lead generation, I would love for you to say, this is what I'm going to do. And what we can do right now, if you want to do it, we can tell you what your schedule should look like. Now, this isn't all inclusive, but we'll give you a very quick overview of, this is kind of what I would plan on a daily basis, so you can figure out if it makes sense. So I'm actually looking for anybody to volunteer. And if you want to, just raise your hand or unmute yourself before you do. I wrote down a couple of different things in here, and I want to make sure I cover these. When you're picking your 2 forms of lead generation, absolutely critical. Virginia, I'm going to come to you in just a second, I promise. One of them is going to get substantially more energy. The other one substantially less, and everything else gets almost none. You can't have 3 forms of lead generation until you're in mastery of 2 of them, and you sure can't have 4, because it will ruin your business. You're not at a position at which you can shotgun everywhere. You have to pick 2, at a minimum 1. Some of the things you're going to do are going to feel heavy. Oh, I don't like doing it. Neither did I, but I didn't have a choice because I wasn't going to fail. I'm willing to do what I need to do. Are you? Because that's the real barrier for entrance into real estate. And because she is awesome. Miss Virginia, I would love to talk to you. If you could unmute, let's have a conversation. What are you committed to?
Okay, well, this is something that, I am doing everything you're saying. So I'm hoping soon everything will pay off. So right now, with my scheduling and everything, I'm selling my first, I received an offer for my first listing, so I'm excited about it. And then I'm working with my first buyers that I think this weekend they will choose a property. So I have two things going on and I'm so overwhelmed because it's just like, it's
Hang
scary.
tight. Hang tight. Where did they come from? That's my question. Where did the listing and the buyer come from?
My listing is from a friend that soon she's going to be joining EXP because she's going to be a realtor.
So a Sphere.
Yes. And the other one came from a referral from a lender marketer.
Okay, so that would also fall under the realm of Sphere referral business from there. What does your schedule look like every single week? Because what you've identified to me is you've got your Sphere and your affiliated business partners. You're getting referral business.
Yes.
What are you doing? What is your weekly schedule? It should be the same thing every day. Do you have a time scheduled for where you're working literally on speaking to your Sphere and your database?
Yes, that's my problem because I work so many hours. Like I'm working until 9 o'clock some days.
Are you working another job besides real estate?
No.
Okay, well, hold on. What's on your schedule that you could show? I'm not asking you to show us, but you could pull up your schedule and share it on your screen and it'll say exactly the same thing every day. That's the time where you lead generate, where you're focusing on your business. Do you have that done yet?
I have it, yes, but I don't follow it that well.
Okay. And that makes you human and normal. The goal is right now, it's like, no. Oh, I did it today, but no, I didn't do it here. The goal is how do we get that where we're missing it. Okay, we got one. How do we get it where we get more where we're following it and less that we're not following it? Because that's where your success is going to lie. Now, if you don't mind sharing, how many hours a day, 1, 2, 3 hours a day, do you do nothing else but call your database and your Sphere and have conversations with people that you're looking for referrals from? How many hours a day do you do that if you had a perfect day?
Well, that's why, I'm not that organized because I start calling people and they love to talk and I love to talk. So sometimes it's like I'm with one person for a long time, but normally I'm calling people since we hung up this morning, like at 9:30, 10, and I start calling people until sometimes 9 p.m. They call me back.
How many people do you speak with on average per day?
Like 8 or 9.
Okay, so that's way inefficient for 8 or 9 people if it's taking you 12 hours to do so.
I know, that's why I'm worried.
So, well, I'm going to give you a real quick tip, and for everybody paying attention to this, you're having a phone call. Remember, you're always busy and you called because they're important. And you have to hop up. Hey, listen, I have got to do something, evidence of success. I've got to do some research for a client of mine. I've got to go to a closing. I've got to do something. And Virginia, what I need to do is I need to get you off the phone much quicker. You're imparting with them love and affection and caring and concern. That is your number one objective. And the referrals come from there. And to help solve any real estate problems, but you're going to have to get off the phone much quicker. You could be talking not 12 hours a day, but in 1 hour, you could talk to those 10 people with your eyes closed.
Yes,
but it has to be on your schedule and you have to do it consistently. And there's an entire class on database that's offered that'll help you keep that organized. And here's the challenge. And please don't answer this because I'm not trying to throw you under the bus. The real challenge to everybody is, are you willing to do it the way we recommend? Because I promise you, we know more about it than you do. And again, I'm not directing this to you, Virginia, this is to everybody. Your database is almost always going to become part of your real estate business. And what you're doing is tremendous, but I need you to be more purposeful. And I don't want you to be, I mean, I have no problem with you talking to everybody, but you're on point in talking to very specific people, at least an hour a day. Probably 3 hours a day. Thank you for sharing, and stick around because at 9:30, we're opening up for any questions we have and we'll jump in. Okay.
Hey, George, can I share a
Please.
perfect day?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I am passionate about is that you should have a life. that you should not be doing this until 9 o'clock at night. So if you look at this schedule here, you see that 8 to 8:30 is lead gen prep. 8:30 to 11 is lead generation. 11 to 12, business servicing. 12 to 1 is lunch. Take a lunch. People, stop working in the middle of the day. Take some time for yourself. Sit and play solitaire on your phone. I don't care what you do, but let your brain rest. There are so many studies out there about if you don't let your brain rest, you're not going to be efficient in the afternoon. So, and then 1 to 2 is lead conversion. 2 to 3 is business servicing, responding to emails, texts, and calls. 3 to 6, listing appointments and showing property. And then from 6 on is your time. You are at the perfect time now to set your boundaries, to set your to set up your schedule. And if you end up being one of those agents that take calls at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, your life is not going to be worth living. And we want you to have a life worth living and to have fun doing this. So set up your schedule to fit your world and your life. Do you agree, Mr. George?
100%. Oh my God. So I'm going to actually caveat that or do a little thing on that. When you get to be my age, not DJ's, my age, you need to have that down and recharge time. When you're in this for a while, and all of us have experienced this, Ali and I actually had this conversation. I've had it with Tom, everybody else. We get to the point where you get a little bit burnt out. And the cool thing is this actual company has really revived it. It's made real estate fun again, which is terrific. And you're in it right now. So God bless you guys. But here's the thing. I want you to get burnt out. I want you to work so hard that you're bleeding phone numbers from your eyes. And the reason I want that is because I want that success in your mouth. I want you to taste it and go, holy crap. But you are absolutely going to have to recharge at some point. Now, I'm not implying that you do that for 6 months, but if you have to do that and really just crush it for 30 days, we can do that with our eyes closed. And you're going to need 2 days off for sure. And you've earned it. But what we can't do is we can't sit on our laurels and not have that perfect day, as she just referred to, and not have a plan and not have a schedule next week that we're following that reflects our goals. And I want you to work very, very hard because momentum takes 90 days. Can I get a hallelujah? Hallelujah. 90 days to get started. But it's going to take hard work. Steph, I prefer the purple hair. I'm just saying that's just me. Okay, just throwing it out there. I miss it. I do. We'll get to it in a bit. All right. Additional support for lead driver. I want to turn it around at this point and open it up. I want you guys to ask some questions. What does it look like? What should I do? What's my schedule like? What is the lead generation platform that you're willing to commit to? And we are here to talk about it. For the next 30 minutes, it is absolutely all about you. The mic is yours. The platform is yours.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. I don't appreciate you talking about my hair, but that's okay.
Sweetheart, if you're gonna go with like just
Listen.
mix it up for me, make my world.
I change it up all the time. Don't get mad. Right now the red is still there. It's just faded in. So I don't expect you to understand that, but okay. All right.
Well,
so
of course, what do you think? Because I could dye mine, right? Okay.
I can do something for you.
I need a weave in there. It'd be like one weave on one hair. It wouldn't work.
We've got stuff for that. So, all right, I'm focusing on open houses,
Yep.
my database. That's what I've been focusing on. So every time I jump on, I always take a nugget away. And, I understand too that door knocking also falls under my open houses. That's all lead prospecting as well.
May I jump in and kind of like just kind of
Guide me?
I got to give you all some background. Steph and I've known each other for, I don't know, 3-4 years.
Oh, you're on. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm digging that thanks for jumping in. I really appreciate it. But let's talk about what your schedule should look like. Because I just didn't want everybody to think, oh my God, they're really familiar with each other. How that happened? We've for years hang out.
I'm not a new agent, no.
But
I'm not a
which is
new
totally
agent.
cool. But you're
But everybody needs to always be open to growth. That's why I jump on these calls every day.
100%.
So
So in a perfect scenario, we'd want to know how many closings you want to have over the course of a year. Would you mind sharing a number, fictitious or otherwise, and we'll work around that?
I would like to have 15 a year.
15. Okay. So my advice would be you would want to schedule 15 open houses and do them over the course of the weekends. Now, what I encourage everybody to do for that is you have an annual big calendar, dry erase that goes on there. And the first thing that goes on it, thank you, DJ, is your vacations. When are you off? When are you done? When do you work your butt off to that? But I would love to see yours. I'm not asking you to show it. You know that. I would love to see your calendar with your 15 weekends of open houses on there. And that gives me the ability to schedule you for Thursday and Friday for door knocking. And I know what your schedule for lead generation looks like on Monday and Tuesday to find the 4 or 5 options for open houses. And you also said database. Perfect scenario. If you had to guess, how many people are really your top level database that you're going to want to talk to on a monthly basis?
10 conversations a day is what I've been doing.
4 conversations a day?
10 a day.
Okay. So do you happen to have about 250 people in your database that you're speaking to on a regular basis?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
More than that.
What I would challenge you to do is pick your very top people, try and get it down to about 150. Doesn't mean you're not going to talk to 10 people, but there is at least 150 where most of your business, it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of your business is going to come from 20% of your database. That's just always going to be the case. Pick out those top 20% or really about 150. And I would set them up on a schedule where you know who you're going to call and you're going to speak to every one of them at least once a month. Because with so many in your database, there's a good chance you're not speaking to the most important on a monthly basis. Now, that's going to take about an hour a day. So I already know your everyday schedule and I know your open house week schedule. If you followed nothing else but that, you're going to reach your goals no matter what.
Amen. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I know you already know that, but thank you really for helping, because that's exactly the kind of question that we needed. And you see how we just built her schedule out? She should be on the phone from 9:30 to 10:30, calling the top people in her database. It's going to be really about 6 or 7 people a day she's going to have to reach out to. She calls 10 so she can pick more. I think that is terrific. And I'm very proud of you. Antoinette, give me 1 second. I won't forget you, but I want to jump over to Ted. Just because I talked to you just a minute or two, and I'm pretty sure that at this point, Pierre, your partner in crime, is going to have some input. So Ted, why don't you unmute? Let's get to you, my friend.
Okay, my two what has been open house and for sale by owners. Now I've done 8 open houses in a row, straight, 8 weeks in a row. A couple of weeks I did a Friday and a Saturday during the course of that. So I've been pretty consistent with that.
Perfect.
Some of my people that have come to the open house has fizzled out. And being on this call, I realized that I didn't qualify them correctly. Is one of the reasons why they might have fizzled out. Another reason, I had a couple who have been qualified to get a to be a potential buyer or looking for a home, and they have also fizzled out. Not quite understanding how I'm letting them slip away, as I'm very consistent with this open house. Are you following?
I am. So fizzled away is probably not the wrong or probably not the right choice on this one. And here's the reason I say this, Ted. They're currently not able to do anything right now, but they're part of your database and part of your ongoing follow-up. And how do we come from value and contribution? Now, this is a great question too. So this is really cool that you asked this. In my database, I have a slew of people that are buyers that I don't really speak to. I'm just being transparent. I don't speak to them. I speak to my top 70 people on a regular basis. The rest of them, what I do is I look for something of value that has to do with real estate, particularly buyer side real estate, like the rates just came down. And then I communicate that out to all those people that fizzled because I want them to know. I may set up a search firm or I'll let them use my KV Core and search on there so I get engagement with them. You're going to try, but it's a numbers game. The reason we don't do an open house once and then just work on our leads is we continually want to add new leads in there. Have you taken the open house course, Ted? Do you have everything you need for an open house doing it the way we
Not
like?
really, no.
All right. You got to do this because it's going to help you in your conversion like freaking huge. It's
Right.
it's important for you. It's available. It's in the GPS Global Partners. Hook up with me later if you want, or just get with Tiffany. She can walk you right through it as well. It's going to change the game. The fact that you're doing them, that is the gold. That's the stuff that's awesome. That's what's going to prove it. Now, let's tweak your actions to make them more efficient. And I would challenge you to put it on a schedule, because if you're doing them every single week, we're getting pretty close to burnout. I could feel it, just not in you. I know what that schedule, it's a grind. And remember, we got Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend. I don't want you to schedule a damn thing. I want you to do whatever rocks your world. You've earned it. You've been working hard at it. But remember, next weekend, you're right back at it. Okay. But let's learn how to work highly efficient for everybody out there. The number one objective is to do the best caliber of work consistently.
Right.
And that takes a schedule, and it takes knowing what to do, and it takes really ripping off and duplicating. Thank you very much, Ted. Did that help, brother? Was that good?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'm out there this weekend again.
I know, man. Well, I want you to take that class, start looking at what we're doing, because there's a lot to it. And I promise you, where do you live, Ted?
Daytona Beach.
Oh, you need to find Max Wordlaw. He's here in Central Florida, and he teaches this all the time. And you need to be on his calls on Monday. We can help you become amazing at your open houses. It's not hard. It just takes your effort. And you're already doing the work, brother. We got you. Thank you very much. Miss Antoinette, good morning again.
Okay, I got one for you, George. I'm all in. Count me in.
Okay.
I want you. I choose you and my sponsor.
No, screw your
My
sponsor.
accountability.
No, screw your sponsor. Yeah, forget him.
I
Forget
can't
it.
do that, you
He
know.
won't even show his face on camera. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know where you live,
That's true.
and I'm still waiting for dinner.
You're welcome anytime, brother.
Wait,
I would cook for you in a
George,
second. Please
When
carry
she
on.
says
Yeah,
all in, ask her how all in she is.
I'm about to. I just had to poke fun at you first. Tell us, Antoinette, what's going on?
I want my accountability weekly to check in, to make sure that I'm on target, I'm doing the work. Good, bad, indifferent. I need your feedback. I'm hungry.
Outstanding.
And
Are you
where are we
talking? You
gonna,
need it?
wait,
me.
where are
You
we
want
gonna
me?
do this, Antoinette? Here? In front of the group? Every week?
Yep.
Every
Documenting
week.
the process for
Yes.
the next six
For the
to
next
12
90
weeks?
days. Oh, you said 6 months or 90 days?
This is well,
90
you're gonna have
days.
to work this for 90 days. Here's the thing. We've got 8 weeks of doing this. And Tiffany, when she comes back, and Robert, help me with this one. Every single week at the end of these calls, we're going to do a quick accountability with how was your week and what'd you do? And you have 1 minute to communicate it. So you're going to communicate it very well, but that's being accountable in front of really 50 of your peers. And I love that you're willing to do it. And that is tremendous. As far as doing a one-on-one accountability, I definitely can help anybody, usually one time, but my schedule doesn't permit an ongoing, because as you may imagine, I've got a hectic schedule with just managing everything here. But I love that. And if you're willing to do it, will you do that? Will you commit every single week for the next 8 weeks to be accountable? Because it's either me or DJ leading it. And I know she'll never forget. Oh my God, you've unleashed the pit bull.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, you want
Hey,
DJ. in
George,
your corner.
let's see how many by show of hands will commit to 1 minute accountability every week. How many of you will commit to that? Raise your hand. All right, good.
Do me a
Tim?
favor, everybody that
raise your
just
hand.
committed to that, put your name in the chat. We just put in your name and committed to accountability. And we'll do an accountability session every end of these calls when we switch from 9:30 to the switch over at 9:30 into the open forum. We're going to do accountability for anybody that wants to jump in. And remember, you're being accountable to you. What's up, Eddie? I'm going to give me a second, Eddie. I'll get to you. I promise. But RC's got his hand up. So RC, you're on your phone, but it's all you, bro. Were you saying that for accountability, RC? Or did you?
Correct. Yes. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Yeah, I
Good
was
morning, sir.
definitely saying that for accountability.
Right on. Solid, man. That's awesome. I just didn't want to miss you if you had something to.
No worries. I appreciate it. That's my first week. This first weekend onboarding with EXP. So I've been following.
Hang
I'm on the GPS.
Hang tight. I gotta give you props right now, sir.
Go
Hold
ahead.
on. And for everybody listening, the fact that they're speaking up and including themselves in the conversation it's an indicator of success in every circumstance. Hold on, don't say a word, Art. Ali, do you agree with that? Is that like spot on? If you're gonna talk, does that like almost guarantee their success? It's engagement. It's putting yourself out there in an awkward position. It's doing the things that most people are uncomfortable doing. That's where success is. Proud of you, brother. RC, we will see you for accountability next week. Eddie, you got your hand up. I'm assuming it's for accountability, but you got a special place. You can talk anytime, sweetie.
Thanks. I actually wanted to ask about the video, the market video. Would that encompass the whole GPS locations or just Florida?
This is what I was doing in the poll.
Right.
That's actually a nationwide market indicator is what we've talked about. And that's what I wanted to know. It would not be specific to any region. It's the overall health of the entire real estate market for agent consumption only. Yeah, it's agent consumptions because while we're micro in our market, you have to know your market. If y'all want, I'll show you what I do on a weekly or what I do every month. And I pull my own numbers because I don't want to wait. If y'all want, I'll be glad to show you what I do. And y'all should be doing this as well. But I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we did a nationwide market health update just for consumption by real estate professionals? But so hopefully that helps. Pierre, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I know we've been talking about this, so why don't I make myself accountable to this group for May?
Done. Folks, you have no idea what you just got. What I do, though, that's awesome, dude. I am in. You're the man. That means every Wednesday we continue to move your business forward, work on, well, we'll go back and forth on it because we're going to be throwing in some other things in there as well. Huge. Really appreciate that, Pierre. Name to be disclosed later.
And
Great
since you
stuff.
guys are all going to screw off at shareholders, I guess I'll just hold them all accountable that week and run my own classes, George, while you're not around.
Yeah, there you go, because we're going to be at shareholders. If y'all
Yeah.
aren't going to shareholders, you need to. Here's why. I go to shareholders because I want to be around people that are far better at what they're doing than I'm doing, and I pick up energy. Natasha, I hope to God you fly on down. I haven't seen you in way too long, and shareholders is the absolute bomb. Both of our annual events are great, as well as Build, as well as Cabo.
No, I won't be there.
Damn it. Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Is there anything we can do? What if we bought you a puppy dog, and then if you said you're not going to come, we'll go over and we'll kick your puppy dog?
I don't want nothing that's on 4 legs, nothing more than 2.
I love you. I would love to see you again. I miss you. I do. All right. Carry on. What's next?
Hold another event in Florida.
Pardon me? I'm sorry? All right, folks. It's you.
You said hold another event in Florida.
Oh, yes. We're actually working on that. We have Grit coming very, very soon. We're working through the process of it. It's a lot to put these on for sure. Eddie, thank you. Good to see you, Eddie, all of you. Anything else for anybody? So I'm going to show you what I build every month. And the reason I'm showing this to you is I want you guys to consider that this may be something you want to put together as well. And for every one of you, you're going to say, well, I want a copy of that. So I'll give you a link after I figure out how to do it, and I'll put it in the chat. And that's the only way you're going to be able to get the copy of it.
Do you want this recorded or you want me to cut the recording, George?
We can kill it.
Okay.